Tim's on my feet, stomping out the negativity. Everybody not a friend of me. Spread the love, still I move deliberately. Girly face on, but the smile be heavenly. Brooklyn girls, so they love the energy, love sincerity. So I take the liberty to take them on a journey lyrically through hallways and alleys. Dark days.
Welcome. I am one of your hosts, Minister Cat, Kitty Rose, and my co-host, where's she at? On this side. Welcome to the next chapter where we discuss shades of gray.
I am so excited to speak to you today about these shades of gray.
Girl, I'm going to tell you, because that is what the next chapter is all about, these different layers and shades of gray. But what is this week's topic, homegirl? What is this week's topic of the week? Let's go. Topic of the week is... Dun, 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 dun. Does being a mother complete you? What are your thoughts? Does being a mother complete you? Now, we're two different women. I am a mother who recently became an empty nester, and you are a woman who is not a mother. We are both in our 40s. You know, what's before I give you my take, what's your take? Do you feel that being a mother completes you? Do you feel complete as a woman who does not have children?
So I like to identify myself as child-free.
Okay.
Deciding to be child-free has been something that I've known since early 20s. I just always knew that being a mother was not for me. I like other people's children. I knew I wanted to be a school social worker. I like helping children, but I knew that being a mother is just not a part of who I am. And you know, who knows if that makes me feel complete or not, because I don't know what it is to be a mother, right? So I don't know what I don't know. But I do feel that I'm very happy being child-free. I am able to do what I want, take a nap when I want, travel where I want, and probably able to save a lot more money because I don't need to be spending it on children. But it's been a struggle throughout my adulthood with people asking me like, oh, you're married, when are you gonna have kids? And oh, why don't you want children? So it's been something that, you know, I've had to face many, many times throughout my adulthood. How about you? You always knew you wanted to be a mom?
So before I answer that question, I wanted to go back to something that you said in regards to you don't know if you feel incomplete because you've never been a mother. But has in any point in your life, have you felt like something was missing because you didn't have children?
No.
And you know something, I'm going to tell you, to be honest with you, I have a few of my girlfriends who are child-free and don't feel like they are less than, but do have a dilemma when it comes to dealing with people or interacting with people and the judgment almost that people give you in regards to thinking that something is wrong with you or that you're incomplete. So they end up projecting. But to answer your question, no. I did not always want to be a mother. And that's so funny because, you know, I'm the oldest of 3 children. So growing up in the household that I did, because my mom worked 2 and 3 jobs, we were latchkey children. So growing up in my household, I ended up taking a lot of, you know, my brothers are literally a year behind me, 2 years behind me, like we're back to back. But I literally felt like I was their mom growing up, you know, up until the age of 15 when I was asked to leave my home. So for the first, 13 years, from the age of 2, 3, you know, to 14, 15, I was taking care of my brothers. So I definitely didn't want children. So when I got pregnant at 20 years old, girl, and let me tell you how I got pregnant, which was crazy, because I was bragging that I wasn't pregnant yet. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in a community where all these young girls was having babies, and I'm like, I ain't got no baby. I'm 18, I'm 19, and boom, you know, I leave the entertainment industry. I go into corporate America, I freaking meet a fucking square, and the first time we have sex, I get fucking pregnant. You know what I'm saying? But I tell you, as much as I didn't want to be a mother at 20, and then again, a few years later, it was the best thing that happened to me. It literally, becoming a mother saved my life. And it's interesting, the video that you chose to play this week, you know what I'm saying, in regards to the different feelings that people might go through, different women might go through. And that's, remember, again, a part of this dilemma. Are the feelings of white women different than the feelings of black women, or any other culture of that nature? You know what I'm saying? Do we all get consumed with the same kind of pressures? Because I know that for me, the pressure of being a mother at 20 years old and 23 years old felt like I was missing out on the rest of my life. You know what I mean? So those things that you brought up in regards to the things that you're able to do, I felt like, especially when I got pregnant with my second child, when we were in Planned Parenthood and I saw the nurse pull out those multivitamins, I hit my head. It was like, fuck. like, are you fucking serious? You can't be pregnant again. You got a small kid at home. And then when I got pregnant with my third kid, I was like, what the fuck? Because we wasn't even doing well in our marriage. So I was like, what the hell are we having another kid for? But I tell you, again, as I reflect in my life, having these children, I lied to you not, Melissa D. It saved your girl. It saved your girl. Because I was reckless before having some kids. You know what I'm saying? And having kids,
would you say there's times when you were a mother where you're like, I wish I wasn't a mother?
Yes. But they were rare and far in between. I think once I became that mother, like I went through a stint, a little postpartum, but once I kind of snapped and figured out this is the job, this is what it is, then it became easier. So let's go to a video, courtesy of NBC, and see another perspective that we're going to discuss when we come back. Let's see.
I never dreamt of having kids.
Filmmaker Maxine Trump has a choice to make, whether or not to have children.
Now I'm angry that as a woman in my 40s, I have to make this decision.
Until recently, Maxine says she and her husband Josh never discussed having kids.
I definitely feel a strange sense of remorse or longing or something, like when I see our friends who are parents.
Maxine's career as a filmmaker has taken her all over the world. She says having children may hold her back.
What if I regret having a kid?
As she struggles with her decision, Maxine realizes the impact her choice could have on those close to her.
I could lose my identity if I have kids, or lose relationships.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I think of I would not be able to have the lifestyle that I have right now, being able to up and leave the States and move to Puerto Rico and just kind of do what I want when I want if I had children. And, I remember my mom always saying to me, Melissa, you're not probably going to have children. You'll end up resenting them. And I would never want to do that to anybody. But, it just, even my mother knew that motherhood was not going to be a thing for me. But it doesn't mean that I'm an awful, heartless person that's with children.
You're selfish.
Right? It's a selfish thing. Or there's something wrong with you. You don't like children. But that has nothing to do with it. I like children. I just don't want my own.
That's so funny because I think it also comes back down to self-preservation. What's wrong with being selfish? What's wrong with knowing from the gate that you don't want a responsibility? Because I'm going to tell you, having the responsibility and not wanting it fucking sucks. I am a 48-year-old woman who has parents, in my opinion, from what I've learned, who did not want to be parents. My parents were just trying to get out of their house. You know what I'm saying? And the thing to get out your house was to get married, and then move out on your own. So when they started having children, it wasn't something ideally that they wanted to do right away. But because of circumstances, and they were never involved parents. So till this day, at 48, and my brother is 46 and my other brother's 45, we don't have parents. And that leaves a huge hole in our life. Like it's almost still at this age something that's dysfunctional because I feel neglected and I feel like I don't have support. So that's worse, you know what I'm saying, to almost feel abandoned when you have living parents who don't fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? Because they're just not built that way. So when I started having children, and I had to kind of figure out my own identity, I thought that video was interesting that they said that she questioned, will she lose her identity? I felt like being a mother was my new identity that I really cultivated growing up. So I felt like it was a routine that became second nature. Yeah. But the resentment did come in when I felt like I couldn't do certain things that I thought my peers were doing in the life that I thought I wanted to lead. And then the end result was that wasn't what I thought I wanted to lead, because now today, the only people that I enjoy people's company, don't get it twisted, but I enjoy my children more than anybody. So it's really weird that the resentment that I could have felt or maybe was creeping feeling went to the left, because the joy of the relationship I ended up having with each one of them was more rewarding, even when it was difficult with my oldest son, because parenting is not easy. So I actually applaud women and men who make the conscious decision not to do that, because when you make the conscious decision to become a parent, you still don't even know what all that takes on. So when you make the conscious decision not to be a parent because you want to do X, Y, and Z, at least you already have a clear lineup of what your life is going to look like, or at least what you want your life to look like.
And sometimes I would get the question of like, well, what's going to happen when you're older and you need somebody to take care of you? The thing is there's no guarantee that the child that you bring up for 40-something years is actually going to want to take care of you.
Girl.
And we have talked about that in the past too, right? Like, are we indebted to our older parents now because we're children? But my thing is that I'll take the chances. I'd rather take those chances, and then after so many years being like, shit, I raised these children and they're still not going to take care of me.
And if they do take care of you, are they going to take care of you the right way? How many stories do we hear of children who, this is a joke, but me and my brother said, what my mother going to know about the money we do with the insurance when she dead? You know what I'm saying? Put that woman in a box, call it a day, and take the insurance money. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
But
it's like, what about these other things like we could hand down to our children? Like, I always worry, like, what mental health stuff am I going to, pass down to my children? What addictions might be passing down to like, I didn't want to put that onto another child either. So it was just like, it made sense. Like, why have all these unknowns when I know that it's not going to be the right fit for me? And I was lucky that my ex-husband was okay with not having children too. And now I'm at an age where people are like, sweet, you don't have children? I'm like, prime meat now.
On that note, let's take a break.
There's so many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
It took 20 years, and I got my third child, who was 17 at the time.
It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
Freedom. It's at the core of who we are. The freedom to live without fear, to jog where we please, to wear a hoodie. The freedom to breathe. Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
goodness, that last one almost made me tear up.
Me too. Me too. And how ironic or how beautiful that ties in again to the topic of choice. You know what I'm saying? Of choice, because ultimately it's about having freedom. It's about having the freedom to decide what is best for you and what is going to make you the most happy. And I don't think it's about being selfish. I think it's about being clear. You know what I mean? And I think it's about owning the decision that you have in your life. And once you own the decision that you have in your life, not allowing other people's views to determine if that makes you full or not. You know what I mean? I think that, you know, having children is a process, you know, because even when you want to have children, the process, you know, becomes difficult for those women that can't have children and go through the expense of trying to have children. You talked about earlier, you know, mentioning that, you know, one of the things that was cool about not having kids is that it allows you to have more money to spend on yourself. However, you know, having kids, you know, is very expensive. And when you think about the expenses, like from the gate, from Pampers to milk to, you know, if you decide to do daycare, if you decide to do private school, like I have a friend of mine, a best friend of mine who is 48, who just last 2 years ago became a dad. You're like, are you shitting yourself? Like you now have to do, that's what I said, and not only have the energy, but wait, football practice, you know, track, you know, if he wants to dance, like all these extracurricular activities that happen, and baby ain't even 2 yet, and he almost 50. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, you know, as much as I resented for a half a second having children at an early age, the blessing came from now at 48, 47, becoming this empty nester where now I have the second part of my life. So if I would have became a parent at 47 or in my 40s, you know, like a gentleman I was dating a few years back, a guy I thought was my soulmate. I still kind of lightweight think he my soulmate. He wanted to have more kids. But my kids was damn near grown, so I wasn't trying to have more kids. So he ended up having children with another woman. But she was 40, and she was now ready to, like, she had her life, and she felt like she was now ready to become a mom. 40. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, girl, like I couldn't imagine being a parent at this age in my life. You know what I'm saying? As difficult as it was in my 20s, as difficult as it was being a young mother, being a young parent, because on top of being a young mother, being a young parent, I was a young wife. So, you know, we forget about that. You know what I'm saying? Because the proper, or what we say is proper, you know, is to get married, have children, you know, but if everyone gets married and now everyone is on top of your neck, well, when are you gonna have kids? You know, without even allowing you to be married for a few years, then what happens? You know, you have kids right away and you never really get a chance to enjoy being married or being a couple, because you got kids right away. And sometimes that doesn't always work, because when the kids leave, then you end up being with a person you don't even know and possibly don't even like.
Like him.
But there was another part in the video that I thought was interesting that I wanted to share with you. So tell me your thoughts when after the video, after we come back. Tell me what you think.
I know people who are fine when they're alone, but then when they go to their families or they go to their mom or grandparents or cousins, and people are like, well, what are you doing? What are you waiting for? Are you going to adopt? What do you know, the pressure that your family can put on you. That's the thing, isn't it?
It's a huge thing. And I love that you brought that up. Thank you so much that you know about this pressure, because I think a lot of people don't know about this. And that's why making the film, I actually couldn't believe there wasn't a film like this out there before. And that's why I made it, because as I was trying to own my decision, it was a process, but I kind of think I knew, but I just didn't feel I could own that identity because I wasn't seeing people being reflected in
And the thing is that there's more people deciding to be child-free now. There's an increase in this, despite, people saying there's going to be a baby boom after the coronavirus stuff. There actually has been a decline in birth rates over the past few years. So this is going to be a trend that's going to continue to move forward, I think. And a lot of people will say it's due to fear of climate change or the current government and the environment that we're currently living in right now. So there's other things than just feeling like selfish. There's actually people feel like this is not the time in history to be having children. And on my father's deathbed, he said, Melissa, don't have children. This is not the world you want to bring children into.
Oh, that's kind of sad. That's kind of sad. Well, I definitely believe that this pandemic was definitely a part of some population control that the government had going on, because I do feel like, just like in Asia, where they have restrictions on how many children you're allowed to have or how many boys versus how many girls. Even African traditions, you go back to different cultures where, if you had a certain amount of boys, then they would, kill your offspring after a certain amount, or the same thing with girls, or taking pleasures away from girls so that they didn't enjoy certain things when it came to their sexual acts, and only was positioned to raise children or bear children. So we know that different cultures has kind of almost put a stank also on motherhood. You know what I'm saying? Because now we've just become these tools. We've just become these vessels that in which we have of children. We just procreate, and we know that I'm not gonna use false statistics, but according to television, we know during the 60s era, during the 30s, 40s, I won't say 30s, but during the 40s, 50s, 60s, when all the mothers was at home and had no identity. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I remember.
They were a mom, right? That was who they were.
And that almost became negative. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember doing a show a few years ago when I had a successful mother on the show who felt like all she was a mom. You know what I'm saying? And so as much as you get joys and rewards in being a mother, is that all that you are then? You know what I'm saying? Is that what wraps you up? You know what I'm saying? So, this is the part of the show where, it's only a half an hour show. You know what I'm saying? But in this half an hour, in these 20 minutes, as a childless or child-free woman, what is your wraparound? What is your wrap-up? What is your words of wisdom? What is your come to Jesus moment to give to women who are feeling that they might be incomplete because of what society is putting on them to feel about being child-free?
I think that we need to stop forcing this identity onto women to be, mothers. And especially for somebody who, like myself, who works with transgender individuals, that also gets put onto them too. Trans women are like, I'm not really a woman because I can't produce, a baby within my body. So we need to start taking this label off as like what that means to be a woman is to be able to create this thing that you push out of your body into this world, and that makes you a woman. I think we just need to, accept ourselves and each other as who we are, what our choices are, and just respect the fact that this is our choice. And, stop pushing it onto people, and stop asking. It's not anybody else's business what you're doing with your genitalia. That's what it comes down to.
And I think when you get in that position that you can own your own decision, then that's when life becomes easy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you and I, this audience is new to us, but in you guys being introduced to us, Melissa and I are both in the next chapter of our lives. And in this next chapter of lives, it comes a clarity in understanding who you are and the decisions that you've made and being okay with those decisions. And I think whether you've become a mother or you don't become a mother, you have to own your own decision, whatever that is, and not allow anyone on the outside noise, what they call like the white noise, to interfere with your thinking, because that shit right there could really be the things that make you depressed, makes you overwhelmed, makes you feel less than, you know. And then once you kind of like take in everything that is you, if that's a mom or it's not, but once you embrace everything that is who you are, then that's really when you become a full woman goddess, because that's what's dope about being a woman. You know what I'm saying? Understanding your place as a goddess, as a creator, because being a creator doesn't necessarily mean what has to come out your womb. Being a creator is what impact do you bring into this world. I'm getting used to my earpiece. Excuse me, everyone. But this is the part of the show that we also is not our favorite part, Melissa. It's not our favorite part, but it's a necessity because this is the world that we live in due to social media. So, dun, 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 everyone, please like, follow, and share, or like, share, and follow our content, because we need your support in order for the message to get out there. And then don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channels. Our YouTube channels, me at Miss Kitty Rose 1. And Melissa, your handle was way too long. You got to personalize.
Yeah, don't worry about mine. Just go to Kitty's.
You know, but don't forget to press that like and share and follow button and subscribe to our channels. But also, guys, share your thoughts. Like, talk to us. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know what we can improve on. Let us know if you have any feedback to what we've discussed, because this is just our thoughts, our professionalism of where we're at in our life. But we could definitely use all of your information that you might help, so that we as a whole, we as a community, don't feel alone. Because here at the next chapter, we discuss shades of gray. So everything is important. Everything is important for you to join in this conversation. I am once again one of your hosts, Minister Kat, a.k.a. Kitty Rose, and I am joined by my homegirl from Puerto Rico,
Melissa D.
Yes! And this is the next chapter where we discuss shades of gray. Thank you so much, and please stay tuned to next week. We'll be back. All right, guys.
Legendary ciphers got the MCs in the jobs. The city never sleeps. Slept from 1 to 5 when COVID hit the block and we had to stay inside. Tough love is all I know, so be gentle with my soul. Learn to navigate winters with no coat. If you never been cold, you never been broke. Hustle 24/7 just to stay afloat. So New York, like dollar pizza in that cold shit. That real life grit from the heart of the city is as hard as it gets. This that New York shit. That real life grit from the heart of the city is as hard as it gets. This that New York shit. That real life grit from the heart of the city is as hard as it gets.